Alright, so for the past couple days, and kind of on accident, I've been writing this sort of, I guess you could call it game engine in C Sharp using .NET, obviously. Uh, what I'm aiming for is something, and there's a specific reason behind this, is I want to make an all console-based, text-based game. And as you can see, the side here is full of classes. I'm making heavy use of base classes and such. So what I've got here is I've got the item base class. It's got some basic things. It's got an ID, and this ID comes in handy with the item mapping class, which I'll show you in a second. Name, plural, description, and the item type, which I use later, because I also have weapon, which extends item, and yeah, that all comes into play in inventory management. Uh, so item mapping, basically this contains a mapping of all the items and their IDs, and it's probably the most inefficient way to do it, but it's quick, easy, and it gets the job done. And I've also got a null item in case via inventory editing or future versions, past version saves, stuff like that, there's incompatibilities. So yeah, it's pretty simple. So what I'm going to do now is I've set it up to where it only uses one save. One save consists of two files. We've got the player.save and the player.inv. They're very simple files, relatively easy to edit. I'm going to go through a couple different screens in a second. And this is the inventory screen. So I'm going to run this real quick. So this is the main input screen. You input the command you want to execute. Right now there isn't a list. There's about 4 commands, 3 of which do the same thing, which exit. And the only other command is an inventory command, which we'll access right now. Which this is all that's in the inventory. The inventory right now holds a max of 20 items, but you could expand it to as many as you want. You could have up to 20 Frosties in your inventory if you really wanted to. We've also got information on items, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter I, and then the slot, which corresponds to this, so we're going to enter 0. And we get this nice information screen, and yes, really want a Frosty now. It works different for wooden swords because they are weapons. You see we get a little more here, and this comes into play with the item types I talked about earlier. There's also a weapon type, which as of right now these weapons don't really do much, but it's going to come in handy later on, that's for sure. So we can also remove items. So I'm going to remove the only Frosty we have left, like that, and it's that easy, and the inventory updates. The best part is that none of these changes are actually saved to file, so if we open up this file again, you can see we still have our 2 items in here, and these are just the item IDs. It's very easy to edit, which could potentially be bad, but oh well. So these changes aren't reflected until after we exit, in which they are then saved to a file. Now, if the player so chose to edit this file and add some invalid IDs, so let's say we've got a couple few Frosties, a couple wooden swords, and they try to add some glitch items like this, right? These are my favorite things, is when people try to do stuff like that. The game is, I guess, somewhat smart enough, not really by design, to fill in the remaining items with null items. So if we try and put in information for a null item, we just get an error, which I did have a screen before, but I'm too lazy to add it back in. The null item does have its own set of properties. I guess I don't have it open. Solution Explorer. It does have its own set of properties. But we're just going to let that do its thing. So yeah, we could very easily remove these. It's a little cumbersome, but this prevents any accidental removals. Items don't stack. This is intentional. I don't plan on making them stackable. The plural name will come in handy when you're obtaining multiples of items. So yeah, that's that. We'll exit now. So what I'm going to do now real quick is I'm going to add in some, I'm going to comment all this, I'm going to comment this code out, and I'm going to show character creation. I guess I should pause the video. So what I did real quick was I called the player, or the character creation dialog, which is going to create the character creation room, and we can create a character real quick. Character creation is relatively quick. We just give it a name. We give it a height, which is in decimal form, so if so this would be 5'7", or we can just type random and it'll give us a random one, which I guess we're 6'2". We can do the same with weight. These values don't affect gameplay as of yet. They may in the future, but as of right now, it's there just to say it's there. So we're gonna put in our gender, which I guess we're unknown. Which, yes, this is okay. And now this is a dialogue screen. Very retro, and it's pretty basic, pretty standard. My favorite part about this is how I implemented it. It's just a simple for loop. So yeah, that's doesn't seem like a lot of work when I'm showing it off, but it really was a lot of work, and it was a lot of fun to do, and yeah. So by the way, this player wasn't saved at all, so we don't need to worry about that. Just put this code back in, and bam, there we go. So I hope to turn this into something in the future. If not, well, I don't know.